Hi, everybody. So we are here. I'm coming to you from Torrey, Utah. I am with my family on a trip, but we wanted to make sure to cover the Doctor Who finale. It's very exciting. It's Doctor Who season 10 finale called I think it's called The Doctor Returns.
The Doctor Falls.
The Doctor Falls, sorry. The Doctor Falls. And it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And my friend Jonathan is here to discuss
Hello.
it. So, yeah, this was pretty exciting. It was a two-part finale from last week. And I was really nervous about it. It has our favorite writer, Stephen Moffat. And I was nervous that they were going to be annoying in the twist, and at least for me, it wasn't. I felt like it worked for the most part, and I was really happy with this finale. I thought it was really well done. What about you? How do you feel about it?
I was really happy. I was afraid that everything was sort of going to end up being, I don't know, a lot of times something will happen and then you'll find out it'll leave off at a cliffhanger, and then when it picks back up, it'll be like, psych, it didn't really happen like this at all. I was afraid it was going to be like that, but they didn't do that. They kept Bill as a Cyberman, which I thought was a really good choice, and they did it. I really liked. It was like heartbreaking, but so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And they even managed to give her a happy ending and not have it feel like a cheat. And yeah. I really liked that.
I did too. I thought some of the stuff with Missy and the Master really worked. I thought that the Doctor had some really great moments. And yes. Overall, I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot it's pretty convoluted.
But that's Stephen Moffat for you. So
yeah.
I'm just glad that it was one of his good episodes instead of one of his bad episodes.
Yeah, agreed. Very much so. I was worried that the whole thing was going to be a simulation after the whole Monk, three-parter, that it was going to be like, oh, tricks ya, and I hate that. So it worked, and you didn't feel overly sort of manipulated and overly, I don't know. You didn't feel tricked like a lot of sometimes that kind of writing can make me feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So cool. Well, let's sort of dive into it. Like I said, it's pretty complicated, but we'll sort of dive into it together. It starts out with this orphanage, and there's these scarecrows, and the scarecrows they're like in this small country orphanage, and they're shooting the scarecrows. And there's this number 507 in the sky. Did you think that was an effective sort of setup?
The whole beginning of the episode, I didn't like the beginning.
Okay.
It was, and I thought it was going to be indicative that I was going to hate the whole episode, but I'm fine with it now. But the beginning was far too similar to another episode that you haven't seen, because there's another episode with living scarecrows, and there's like a boys' school, and all the boys are shooting at the scarecrows, which are coming across the field towards them. I'm like, you've already done this. I mean, this is totally different situation, totally different creatures. They're not scarecrows, but it was still very similar, and I was kind of annoyed that it was sort of the same. But it didn't last very long. They got it over with, and they explained it well enough that I guess I'm fine with it. But I was just like, it was too close to being similar to this other episode. And I feel
Makes
like they
sense.
should have done something different.
Okay.
But other than that, it was okay. It was still very confusing until I figured out what was going on. But eventually I liked it, so...
Some stuff I didn't ever quite figure out. The 507, what was that all about? That was because it was a ship?
That was the floor they were on. They were seeing the ceiling. The sky was a hologram, but they were seeing through it to the ceiling. and that was the floor they were on.
Okay. Yeah, so they're in this, you find out later on in the episode that this isn't in the country, this is actually a part of a ship.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, 507 was the floor of the ship they're on. There's this one in particular orphan girl that is kind of the main one who sort of helps out the doctor, I guess. And you see the Cybermen, they've come, they are carrying the doctor, and throughout the episode he starts to regenerate and then stops and starts and stops. And what do you think of that?
I think this is basically confirming the fan theory that he's been regenerating this whole season, but he's been holding himself back because he doesn't want to. Like when in the episode with the monks, when he started to regenerate and then stopped, it wasn't because he could just turn it on and off at will. It's like he has been almost at the point of regeneration this whole season, but he's been holding it back because he doesn't want to. I still don't know why he had to do that in front of Bill to scare her in that one episode, but whatever, I guess.
Yeah, it's like he's holding back for the perfect moment. I did like the moment where it says there's a pity no stars. I'd hoped there'd be stars.
I feel like from the stuff he was saying at the end, he's almost holding back because he doesn't want to. I feel like he wants to die. Like he's tired of living because he's lived like thousands of years now, and it sounded like he wanted to die. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it sounded like to me.
It sounds like he wants to die, but he's scared of leaving people. Like he feels like nobody else can really do what he does.
Yeah.
He's scared, seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. So the whole entire city, so Missy and the Master are watching him, and the whole city has been turned into a Cyberman factory. Mm-hmm. And this includes Bill. And let's see, Missy knocks out the Master, and she claims to him, "I was with you all along." The doctor says, "Is that true?" And then Missy takes the sonic screwdriver and leaves the doctor with Bill. And that's when Nardole, Master, and Missy go with Nardole. And I don't know so Bill ends up kind of coming back, and you see her that she is a Cyberman, but she hasn't completely succumbed to it because she can still cry. And it says here, where there's tears, there's hope. What do you think of that?
I liked that. I thought it was kind of sweet. Right. I really liked her interactions with the doctor in this episode. Like the fact that she was a Cyberman, but they almost never showed her except when there was somebody else around. I like that the doctor still saw her as Bill and that she still saw her as Bill. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a really great way to have her be a Cyberman, but still have her be her.
Right. Well, and it was a really chilling moment when she gets that mirror and she sees herself. And
at first, when we first saw her lying in the barn, I was like, did they really just undo this like a Deus ex machina?
Right,
have her suddenly be human again? And I was a little miffed. But then when she looked at the mirror and I realized what was going on, I was like, that was actually brilliant. And I was no longer miffed.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job because, I mean, what else are you going to do? Because, I mean, the Cybermen can't really talk and they can't, so you kind of need to flip back and forth. It's the only way to, I don't know, to make it work. And I thought that Pearl Mackie, I think his name, she did a really good job. Like, I don't know, I just felt her emotion. I do feel like her and Peter Capaldi have great chemistry together. And I read some things online of people being really critical of her and of Bill as a companion. I don't have anything to compare it to, but I think she's done a really good job.
No, she was great. I loved her the whole series, but this episode in particular, I thought she was just amazing.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. What did you think of Missy and the Master? Some of these early scenes.
I thought they worked really well together. They were basically acted exactly as I figured they would if they ever got together, and it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a little confusing sometimes there. I felt like Missy kept, one minute she was with the doctor, one next minute she's against the doctor, back and forth,
I
back and
think
forth, back and forth.
I think she was like that in her own mind too,
Oh,
because
okay.
I really think that she is sort of conflicted, especially with what happened at the end. I didn't really think that she was going to turn good, and I don't think she's fully good if she's even still alive, but I think that she really was conflicted with the way she was acting because at first I thought it was all an act, but by the end I was pretty convinced that she really was turning good.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. It was. I was. She did a good job. Like it was just
Hmm.
so like back and forth, like a seesaw. But
Michelle Gomez is a great actress.
yeah, she's
She's
good.
so good.
Really good. Yeah, and I thought that Bill, I mean, she really did seem kind of devastated about what has happened and angry at
Hmm.
times to the doctor. And she says, "You left me alone for 10 years. Don't tell me not to be angry." Thought
Yeah,
that
it
was
was.
a good moment,
Yes.
intense moment. And that's when he says, "Where there's tears, there's hope." And that was also, Missy says, to him, "Is the future going to be all girl?" And he says, "We can only hope."
I
I like
thought
that.
that was a great line.
Yeah.
I think that was like a nod to all the people who want the doctor to eventually be a girl. It was like a little wink to them.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I hope they do eventually do that, but
It would be
um,
interesting. It would be very different.
yeah, I mean, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't. There's nothing that masculine
It,
about the doctor, really, to me.
true. It depends on who they get.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'll just wait and see what happens.
I think it might be the most different is because the companion is more of a feminine character archetype. And so
Yeah,
having
I
a
agree.
female doctor, and if you had a female companion, that would probably make the most sense, is to have
It
it be
would.
two women.
Yeah, it would give the show a whole new feeling. I mean, every time the Doctor regenerates, the show gets a whole new feeling too. So
Right.
I mean, it would be really different, but at the same time, it wouldn't be different at all. So
Hmm. So right after this, you get this great scene. Well, the Cybermen update, and they're like, they change from being sort of almost like cotton looking to looking like steel and much more hardcore, I guess. And
this is pretty much the way they look in the rest of the series, like the
oh,
other
okay.
in past episodes. This is like I don't know if they're maybe their final form. This is their highest upgrade, I guess. They're basically weaponized now.
Mm, okay. And this is when we find out that it's a giant spaceship. And you do get a lot of exposition, but I don't know. I didn't mind it. I get if they're, I felt like all the different parts that I might be typically critical or that I could see people being critical, I'm like, it worked. I just liked it. I thought it was
Mhm.
good. And so I didn't mind the exposition. I didn't mind the changes in tone all over the place. I didn't mind the twist.
Mhm.
I thought it all just somehow worked. And
Yeah,
uh, so maybe it's because I was going into it kind of cautiously optimistic, sort of
it could
nervous.
be.
Yeah,
I was nervous. I was nervous too at the beginning. Like I said, until I realized that Bill was actually still a Cyberman, I was still kind of on the edge. Like, am I gonna like this or am I gonna hate this? Once I
yeah,
realized she was a Cyberman and she was staying a Cyberman, then I was all in and I was like, this is really great. I love this.
right. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I felt like it caught me, and I know it's especially once we get to this next part where Missy and the doctor and the master like have an argument, and you get this amazing speech. I wish I had the whole speech that I thought Peter Capaldi delivered so well. And where he says he's trying to convince Missy to stay with him, and he says, "I do this because it is right, and because it is for kindness. He does it for the." It was a great. I wish like I said, I wish I had written it all down, but I thought it was really, really good.
I loved when he said that he did it because it was kind.
Right.
And I wish there was more shows that had people doing things to be kind. I feel like kindness is underrated these days.
I agree.
We need more of it.
Well, we live in the era of the anti-hero, and where like people like Walter White and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the hero where it is so nice to have a character like the Doctor who doesn't have to help these people but chooses to help. It's kind of similar to Superman when Superman is done right.
I was just thinking of that, and Wonder Woman, because I just saw Wonder Woman.
That's another good example of Wonder Woman. She doesn't have to help, but she chooses to help, which is what gives her power, and it makes you empathize. It makes you love her because she doesn't have to do it. And so it was really, really, really good speech. And let's see. So Missy and the Master both refuse to join him, and Nardole and the Doctor have a big fight. That Bill is going to explode and kill all the Cybermen, and Nardole is upset with the Doctor. Nardole takes all of the children, and I think he wants the Doctor to go with him, right?
It sounded like he wanted to be the one to push the button, so to speak.
Okay.
Like he wanted the Doctor to go with all the kids, and he would be the one to die. And I know it's kind of dark, but I loved his line when he was mad that Bill was saying, he's like, "Oh, so she gets to explode."
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I mean, because I sometimes found Nardole to be a little bit annoying, but I thought that it was a good moment for him. Like all this stuff that might normally annoy me, for some reason it just worked for me in this episode. And it was a sort of heroic moment for him, which I liked. And it's kind of like in the last Harry Potter book, and somewhat to the movies, but I really loved in that book how like all of these little side characters that you've come to sort of know and love throughout the series of the books have their sort of moment to shine. And I love that. I think she did such a great job with that. And I kind of felt a little bit of that feeling here of like, oh, yay, check, 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 check,
I love it when that happens in stories where you get little moments for everybody.
Yeah, so it's not just your protagonist, your lead protagonist. It's a full. It just makes the whole experience feel like richer and deeper and kind of So, and Missy tells the Master. She says, "I loved being you, every second of it." And I think evidently this is her last. She's gone. She's done. She won't be coming back. And I kind of wondered if that was sort of also that not only the character, but also sort of the actress in a way saying,
yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was part of it.
Yeah. And so then Missy takes down the Master and she says it's time to stand with the Doctor. But then the Master leaves in his TARDIS after shooting Missy. So that was a pretty emotional scene.
I think that was an elevator that he was taking to go down to where his TARDIS had.
Oh, okay.
But still, I know what you mean. Yeah, it was a great scene, and I'm not completely convinced that Missy or the Master. I'm sure that if the Master comes back, it will not be Missy. I'm not completely convinced that the Master is dead, because the Master has died so many times. Yeah. There was one time he was cremated and he came back from that. So I think that the Master will come back eventually. It might be a while. I have a feeling they'll hold off before bringing the master back. But
well, I mean, evidently, I guess there can be multiple masters, because isn't Missy also a master? So there's 2 masters?
they're the same exact person, just at different times in their life.
Oh, okay.
When Missy stabbed the master is going to regenerate, and he's going to regenerate into Missy.
Oh, right.
So
right.
this is just their timeline crossing. That's why there was that whole thing about him asking if she remembered this, and she doesn't, because they've established before that when 2 Time Lords meet, if they're the same person, they don't they maybe remember little bits of it, but the memory is really hazy because the time is getting confused in their head.
Very convenient of Doctor Who.
It is very convenient.
Nice. Okay, so then this is when the Cybermen shoot the Doctor, and he says, "I'm not a doctor. I'm the Doctor, the original, you might say." So that's kind of fun, and of course, and then that's when we get the explosion, and that's when he says, "Pity no stars. I'd hoped there'd be stars."
Yeah, I liked that line.
Yeah, me too. You know, it's a very hopeful character, a hopeful someone who's willing or fights for the best in of man, of mankind, and it's just a very hopeful character. So
this is why I like Doctor Who so much.
Yeah.
I like hopeful stories and hopeful characters, and even if things are terrible, I'd like there to be some glimmer of optimism in whatever we're watching.
Me too. I agree. So there's just so much that's depressing and frustrating and everything like that, that in my entertainment, not that everything has to be, gumdrops and flowers, and it's not in Doctor Who, but you want it to be still hopeful.
Yes.
So, and let's see here. So Bill survives as a Cyberman. She cries, and this was a big surprise to me. So,
me too.
the woman from the water of episode 1 comes back.
I was shocked. I think I yelled like, "What?" at my computer. I was like, at first I thought, is she having a flashback as she dies? But no, she was actually there. It was out of nowhere, but I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. I remember when we were talking about it, and you were like, I wonder, because that was sort of not tied up. I wonder if we're gonna see her again, and then we never did. And then out of the blue, there she is. And like I thought it might be like her mom or someone like that, but it was the water lady.
This also helps explain the question that I had in the other episode, was like, how is she following them? Like, why is she turning up everywhere they're going in the universe? Apparently she's some sort of immortal being now, and she's just able to do that. And it is one of those things where it's not like fully explained, but I don't mind if there's a little bit of magicalness. It's fine. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a world of Time Lords, and so, like, I mean, you have to kind of have a little bit of fun with it, and there was a nice emotion to the scene, and to Bill getting to decide kind of what she's going to do, and it didn't feel, it could have easily felt sort of tagged on, but to me it was satisfying, and it was emotional, and it felt like a good.
So good.
It felt like a good end to the character.
And I don't tear up at things.
What's that?
I actually teared up, and I don't tear up at things. It takes a lot for me to like feel that much emotion, and it was really good. I was very happy with the way that Bill's story came to an end.
Well, it was kind of cool. So the reason why she's been able to keep crying is partly because of this water person.
I loved that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are probably going to say that makes no sense, but I don't care. I loved it.
that's right. That's right. I agree too. I really did. I really liked it, and it was a twist without it being annoying to me.
Hmm.
Without
Yeah.
it, I don't know, without it feeling like a trick or whatever. So I and she says, I know when you were crying, and she kind of gives her this option of what she can do, and she there's like a kind of like almost a spirit world kind of thing,
I,
eternal world,
I think it
sort
was
of.
basically they could just travel the universe
Mm.
for eternity. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Sort of like
Uh,
maybe the science fiction version of a spirit world.
right,
Being
yeah.
able to travel the stars without a spaceship.
Yeah, it's like a
It was,
Doctor Who version of
it was a
heaven, kind of.
cool idea. I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. It was very peaceful feeling, and
Yeah.
yeah. So okay, it's certainly I would way rather have that than her like a Cyberman for the that would be so
Yeah.
depressing. Remember last week we were talking about, I was like, this is going to be really sad, and they
Hmm.
somehow managed to include emotion but not leave it like, oh, that's a downer.
Yeah. I
So
I I loved it. I was afraid that it was going to be like really depressing, and I liked that they actually had her become a Cyberman and stay a Cyberman, but
mhm,
still were able to give her a happy ending.
right.
I thought it was perfect because I didn't know how they were going to do that and make me feel like it wasn't, I don't know, a cheat. I don't.
Yeah, agreed. I agree.
I'm really happy that I was happy.
Me too. Me too. So they take the doctor to the TARDIS, and yeah, and then Bill can decide whether to go with her into heaven or become human again. And then the doctor, the doctor has this flashback to all. I assume it was all four of his seasons. He sees and he says, "I don't want to go."
Yeah, he said this before. He was remembering all of his companions from the past. And when 10 regenerated into 11, that was his final words. I don't want to go, and then he regenerated. I
Mm,
kind of thought that was where this was going to go, and it I'm kind of surprised that they didn't. They have this another little twist to throw in
yeah.
at the end.
So we're going to talk about that. So he stops regenerating after saying that, and all of a sudden you see a different doctor is there,
The very
and
first
it's
Doctor.
yeah, and it says, I'm
Hmm.
the original doctor, and it's the original actor, correct?
No, the original actor died years ago.
Oh,
This
okay.
guy, he actually has played the Doctor before, though, because in a few years ago they had a special about the making of Doctor Who. Like it was sort of a movie about when Doctor Who was first created back in the 60s. So this was the actor who played Doctor Who in that movie. So now he's playing the Doctor for real instead of playing the actor playing the Doctor.
Ah, okay, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that.
I thought
Uh,
that was really great, and he looks so much like the original Doctor.
ah,
It's uncanny.
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So then we get just this title card, I guess, that the says the original Doctor, the Doctors will return at Christmas. So
Hmm.
what do you take about that? Do you think that
I
is
have no
this guy
idea.
going to be the new doctor, or are we going to get? Is that just going to be
If
for the
they
Christmas
make
special,
him the
or
new Doctor, that's going to be really confusing because he already was the Doctor because he changed into the second Doctor, who changed into the third Doctor, and so on until he changed into the 12th Doctor. So I really hope they don't have him change back into the first Doctor because then that doesn't make any sense.
because Capaldi is gone, right? We know that for sure, correct?
He's leaving after the Christmas special, so he will be regenerating into someone else. So I'm guessing that this is just gonna that the Christmas special is just gonna be another story where two doctors meet each other and have an adventure together. Because they've done that before. They had Matt Smith and my mind is going blank. They had all of the doctors in the 50th anniversary special. They had all of them meet. It was more so they had 10 and 11 together, but at one point all of the doctors were there. So this is another story where their two incarnations of the Doctor are meeting each other, I guess. I really hope they don't have him regenerate into number one again, but who knows? We'll see. I'm sure if they do, they'll have some sort of explanation, but
would they what if he chose to not, what if he just dies and the first Doctor stays as the Doctor or something like that? I don't know. It could get really confusing, but it surprised me, and I just thought, I guess, so could it be that we don't see him actually regenerate at all? That it just starts out the new season after the Christmas special with the new Doctor? Do they always show the regeneration?
Well, they never showed the regeneration of the 8th Doctor into the 9th Doctor, because the 8th Doctor, the series ended with the 7th Doctor, and then there was a TV movie in the 90s that had the original actor who played the 7th Doctor regenerate into the 8th Doctor. But after that movie, there was nothing until 2005, and it just opened with the 9th Doctor. So it never showed 8 becoming 9, although that is explained later on in the series, so you actually do eventually see that happen. But they don't, that's really the only time that I know of for sure that it never actually showed it. So I think people are expecting a regeneration and they'll be wanting one. And I think that if they don't show it, there'll be some slightly upset fans if they don't actually get to see it. So I think it'll happen in the Christmas special.
Are you surprised that they didn't do that in this episode, or was that, or in that they're going to hold that off till the Christmas special?
Not really. I mean, a lot, because it usually, at least recently, has happened in the Christmas special. Like when 9 became 10. Well, technically, when 9 became 10, it happened in the very last episode of the season, and then the Christmas special was all about introducing you to 10. Okay. And then when 10 became 11, they had a whole series of specials, and then I think it was maybe a New Year's special where 10 became 11. And then when 11 became 12, it was in a Christmas special. So it usually revolves around the special.
Oh, okay.
The standalone episode.
I didn't realize that.
I'm not completely surprised. I'm kind of surprised that they've been doing this whole teasing thing where, is he going to regenerate? He's not regenerating. Is he going to regenerate? He's not regenerating. That's what's been different for me. That's what's been surprising for me. Like, I'm not really sure why they did that. I guess it's an interesting twist to this, but I don't know if it serves any real purpose other than to tease us.
Yeah, and it was just kind of a fun surprise to see that first Doctor.
Yeah, I really like the idea of him meeting one of his really old incarnations, like somebody from the old series.
I think it was a really satisfying way to end the season. Some of the episodes in this latter half of the season have felt like a little bit fan servicey, like that. As somebody who's new to the show, I didn't quite get, I didn't quite enjoy it as much. But this, I felt like struck that balance really well.
Yeah. I thought it struck a really good balance. I thought there would be a couple things that might confuse you, but I thought that they explained things well enough that you'd probably be okay with it.
Yeah, they did. So any thoughts on the season as a whole? Kind of how you felt about it in the end?
I liked the whole season. There was some episodes that I didn't like quite as much, particularly the Monk trilogy.
Right.
Those were probably my least favorites, even though I did, unlike you, I did actually like the first episode, and I liked parts of the second one, but the last episode kind of ruined the whole thing for me. So, but other than that, most of the episodes, I would say I enjoyed something about every one of them,
Yeah.
and a lot of them I really did like a lot. So, this is probably one of the best seasons of the past few years, because I don't know, they've been. I don't want to say that they've all been uneven since Stephen Moffat took over, because I don't hate Stephen Moffat, but I feel he's best served when he's given one or two episodes to focus all of his attention on.
Right.
And I don't know, once he took over, things started getting more uneven than they were before he took over, I guess.
That's a very diplomatic way to put it, I think. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Stephen Moffat fan, but you know, he certainly can do good work, as we've seen in this finale. So, and I did really love. I think it was worth following the show, if anything, just for Thin Ice and Knock Knock. I thought those were two really fun episodes. I really enjoyed those. My favorite. So.
Yeah, those were two of the best episodes, I think.
Yeah.
And then I liked the Eaters of Light, and then this final two-parter.
Yeah.
And the first episode. I really liked the first one too. I liked a lot of them. There were more that I liked than the ones that I didn't like. So that's good.
Yeah, that is good. That's really good. So yeah, and there wasn't really any that I couldn't find some. I don't think I gave any episode. Maybe that third in the trilogy, Monk trilogy, I gave a 4 to, but the rest were all over 50%. So there was all fresh. They're all technically positive. So, all right. So where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at John J North, JONJ North, like the direction, and I have a YouTube channel.
And you're just posting your Wonder Woman review soon.
I just watched Wonder Woman the other night, and I just got the review up. So if you're interested in that, you can go watch it. And
Nice.
I have my Wonderland Wednesday series where every week I review a different Alice in Wonderland version. This week is going to be the one that came out around the same time as the Disney one. It was sort of competing with the Disney version. It's a live action version. Or let's see. No, that'll be next week. This week is another silent film. We've watched too many. I'm getting confused as to which one is which one.
Well, either way, tune in. It'll be good.
It'll be something you probably have never seen or heard of, unless you're a cinephile, because I'd never heard of these before I watched them.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's what's fun about doing those kind of marathons is you watch stuff that you wouldn't normally, like when I watched all the Star Trek movies, like, I don't know, it was fun. You see things you wouldn't normally see. So, all right. Well, cool. Well, you can find me at Spelling LDS Girl. And I have my review of the first Despicable Me movie for Family Movie Night up today. And there'll be scheduled videos that I made, but there won't be any podcasts this week because I am out of town, except for this, and until Saturday, until Sunday, when we will be doing our next episode of the Superhero Showdown with some of my friends. So that'll be really fun to figure out the greatest superhero movie of all time. So definitive. So, all right. Well, thanks so much. And we'll be excited to do our episode ranking video sometime probably next week.
We didn't give our star review.
Oh, right. How many out of 1 to 10? What would you do for this one?
I would probably give it a 9 or a 9.5.
Yeah. I think I would as well. I think I'd give it, I mean, I don't have as big a sample size to go off of as you do, but I think out of all of these, I would think it would be a 9.5 for me. It was really good. It was emotional. It was well acted. It had good writing, had good moments, and it had twists that actually worked. And so I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. So. Well, thanks for joining me and for putting up with this internet connection, this thing's
No,
here.
it's fine.
So have a good 4th of July weekend, and we'll be excited to eventually, like I said, talk about rankings of these episodes. That'll be fun.
Yep, I'll be looking forward to it.
And maybe in the off season we can talk about some of, I can play catch up, and maybe we can talk about some episodes too. We'll
that'll
see.
be fun. I'm looking forward to going through it again.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. Well, thanks so much, and we will talk again soon.
Okay, see you later.